Hi guys, we're gonna discuss about the historical revisionism with my partner Abao. Let's proceed to the first slide. Overview. Originated in the 20th century amidst one of the greatest events in history, which is the World War One. Second bullet. Presumably since ancient Greek and Roman scholars edited history. Okay, next to the second slide, which is historiography versus historical revisionism. In essence, historical revisionism is a component of historiography. Historiography is concerned with the broader study of how history is created, while historical revisionism is a specific activity within historiography that involves the revaluation and revision of historical accounts. Both contribute to our evolving understanding of the past, but historiography is more about the methodology and philosophy of history, while historical revisionism deals with the specific act of reinterpreting and revising historical narratives. Okay, so what is historical revisionism? Historical revisionism is the critical revaluation of past events and narratives, driven by new evidence or changing perspectives. It aims to provide a more accurate understanding of history, but can also be used for distortion or deanalysis purposes. Approach it with caution, considering the credibility of sources and motivations behind reinterpretation. One of the primary aims of historical revisionism is to correct inaccuracies or omissions in existing historical accounts. It challenges established narratives, seeking to unveil previously overlooked details or provide alternative explanations for historical phenomena. However, it's important to note that historical revisionism is not limited to correcting errors. It also contributes to the ongoing development of historical scholarship by incorporating diverse perspectives and addressing gaps in the historical record.
So, for instance, following the previous Philippine elections, a bigger issue has been spotlighted within the Filipino community: the reinterpretation of historical events. As an example, historical revisionism has become a strategic tactic for Filipino politicians to persuade voters by reinterpreting history in their political favor. As narratives, a known family of politicians, Marcos's recommendation of a historical revision in our country, the Philippines, in the years of his authority.
Slide. As an example of historical revisionism in our country was when the late President Marcos stated, "There are many things we do not want about our world. Let us not just mourn them, let us change them." Those words provoked a lot of people at the time he implemented martial law and caused the EDSA People Power Revolution in 1986. In other terms, historical revisionism consists of revisiting the sources of historical record or period within a different perspective or new data that could alter how we see it. This way, for revisiting history has both positive and negative aspects. Aside from that, there are cases that which historical revisionism was used in a positive way. Cases such as that of Rosalind Franklin. Rosalind Franklin was a British chemist and X-ray crystallographer whose work was central to the understanding of the molecular structures of DNA. Stolen by her colleagues without her knowledge, they took credit for the DNA structure through her work, Photo 51, which you can just search online. Would not have been known at the scale it did if there had not been an intention to examine Her or the story of discovering the DNA chain, a story already told and solidified in the collective memory. And until the day she died, she was only later than
recognized. And that's how historical revisionism can help discern the truth.
as our conclusion.
Sean,
Basically, historical revisionism could also be harmful, especially if negative revisionism is done. It would fool people into believing in narratives made of false analyses, disguised to manipulate facts and misleading hearsay. It means, depende na lang sa historians kung hindi accurate yung pagbabagong gagawin nila. Second paragraph, historical revisionism is essential in finding the truth about what actually occurred in the past. Completing the chronological documentaries would improve how people view the events that have shaped our current society. If the purpose of the historiographic context is to study and interpret history better, it can be a valuable tool to manage and prepare for the future. So in short, evidence is always necessarily incomplete, and no historian is capable of acquiring all of the potential relevant evidence that does exist. Di naman talaga makukompleto yung history kasi in our present days, wala namang may kayang kunin lahat ng proof para lang patunayang nangyari yung mga event na nangyari noon kasi nga matagal na din lumipas yung mga panahon at hindi lahat ng mga ebidensya or proof ay tatagal ng ganong katagal na panahon. So, next slide, references. Here are the reference we use. In the first bullet, the example related to historical revisionism about Dr. Franklin and other terms were taken from Observatory Tech by Sofia Garcia Viul of August 2021. In the next bullet from Democratic Erosion, we took the example of historical revisionism in political agenda related to late President Marcos and EDSA People Power by John Ulysses Dick of November 2022. And last but not least, by Kristen Conger, written since January 2009 in the site History How Stuff Works, the meaning of historical revisionism and other positive and negative sides it causes. So, in a nutshell, by learning from the past, history won't repeat itself. We have to learn from the past, thus altering history. It will repeat itself. That's all. Thank you.
Historical revisionism.